All right, so we're in ninth lit, and we're reviewing what we read yesterday, about to read scene 6 of Henry V, Act 3. And so remember, the Battle of Harfleur is over. Henry had to threaten atrocities. The governor caved in, and they went in. And then we saw Alice. I believe that was one of the last scenes we read. Alice and Catherine were talking. How does that scene and the one before it, how are they juxtaposed to one another? How are they different? How are they alike? I remember that. One, the king threatening atrocities. The next one, to a teenage girl and her nanny giggling, laughing about speaking French. Did you have something, Zoe?
The one where they're like speaking French or like out of touch with reality.
Yes, and it's comical versus the very serious nature of the previous scene. Plus what Zoe just said, she's not, it just points out, she's just a kid. She's gonna be running this, well, her husband will be the king, but still, she'll be queen of this country. There's a lot of things that are different. And then you see the French leaders talking about Henry, and the Dauphin still doesn't respect him, but they're gonna make plans to defend their country. And remember, one of the last things we saw was that the king wants to protect his son, the Dauphin, to go to ruin, and he won't. He'll stay there and fight to his credit. So scene 6 will begin. We need Gower Fluellen, probably just Gower and Fluellen. Right, we need Gower and who read those yesterday?
I think I read Gower.
Would you read Gower? We need Fluellen. All right, thank you. We also need, we don't need them all. I think we just need Pistol. There's a reason why we don't need them all. You'll find out in a minute. But you read Pistol? All right. Can you read it?
Yes, I
All
can
right,
read it.
good.
I'll do better today.
Good job.
I will not laugh. I'll distract the show.
We will need Henry. You want to read Henry? And we're going to need Montjoy. He's a diplomat. But Montjoy, you want to read Montjoy, Natalie?
Sure.
Gloucester doesn't have a lot to say. Then we'll need the Dauphin, all those people. So here, scene 6, enter captains, English and Welsh, Gower and Fluellen. So Gower?
How now, Captain Fluellen, come you from the bridge?
I assure you, there is a very excellent servitude committed at the bridge.
Is the Duke of Exeter's name?
The Duke of Exeter is a magnanimous as Agnes, and a man that I love and honor with my soul, and my heart, and my duty, and my life, and my living, and my uttermost power. He is not, God be praised and blessed, any hurt in the world, but keeps the bridge most valiantly with excellent discipline. If there is any Achaean lieutenant there at the bridge, I think it is my very conscience he is a valiant man as Mark Antony. And he is a man of no estimation in the world, but I do see him as gallant service.
What do you call him?
His name is Achaean Pistol.
I know him not.
He is the man.
Captain, I three beseech to do me favors. The Duke of Exeter doth love thee well.
I praise God and have merited some love at his hands.
Bardolph, a soldier, firm and sound of heart, and of buxom valor hath by cruel fate and giddy fortune's furious fickle wheel, that goddess blind that stands upon the rolling restless stone.
By your patience, Achaean Pistol, fortune is painted blind, with a muffler before her eyes to signify to you that fortune is blind. And she is painted also with a wheel to signify to you which is the moral of it, but that she is turning and inconstant in mutability and variation, and her foot, like you, is fixed upon a spherical stone, which rolls and rolls and rolls. In good truth, the poet makes a most excellent description. Fortune is an excellent moral.
Fortune is Bardolph's foe and frowns on him, for he hath stolen her packs and hanged A gallows gave for dog, let man go free, and let no him his windpipe supplicate. But Exeter hath given the doom of death for packs of little price. Therefore go speak, the Duke will hear thy voice. And let not Bardolph's vital thread be cut with the edge of penny cord and vile reproach. Speak, captain, for his life, and I will thee requite.
On Camp Pistol, I do partly understand your meaning.
Why then rejoice therefore?
Certainly I can. It is not a thing to rejoice at, for if with you he were my brother, I would desire the Duke to use his good pleasure to put him to execution, for discipline like ought to be used.
Die and be damned, and FICO for thy friendship.
It is well.
The fig of Spain.
Very good.
Why, this is a rant. Dr. Ruska, I remember him now about cut first.
I assure you, utter thy praise, word thy praise, as you shall see in summer's day, but it is very well. What he has spoke to me, that is well, I warrant you when time is served.
Why, 'tis a goal, a fool, a rogue, and now and then goes the worst to praise himself, as he returns into London under the form of a soldier. And such fellows are perfect in the great commander's name, and they will wear you by road where services were done, at such and such a sconce, at such a breach, at such a convoy, who come off bravely, who was shot, who disgraced, what terms the enemy stood on, and this they con perfectly in the phrase of war, which they trick up with new tuned oaths. And what a beard of the general's cut, and a horrid suit of the camp, will do among foaming bottles and ale wash. Wits is wonderful to be thought on, but you must learn to know such slanders of the age, or else he may be marvelously mistook.
I tell you what, Captain Butler, I do perceive he is not the man that he would gladly make show to the world he is. If I find a hole in his coat, I will tell him my mind.
All right, so let's go back to the questions. I think that might be a good place. Number 41, scene 6. Why might Shakespeare have chosen to write Henry Fifth Dialogus prose as opposed to 115? We're not there yet, so we can't answer any of these questions. So, hang on just a minute. Yeah, you can't. Now, let me tell you, there isn't a question here. So let me tell you that we learned that what has Bardolph done and what is his punishment going to be? Yeah, we knew that earlier. We knew that at Harfleur. What's his punishment going to be? No, it's worse than that. They're going to hang him. And so Pistol, to his credit, is trying to save Bardolph's life. And Fluellen says, well, if it were my own brother, I'd have him hanged if he broke the law. And so one thing that I think Fluellen mistook Pistol. He heard Pistol talking, and he thought Pistol was a hero. And he's also going to, he talks about something we call now stolen valor. Have you ever heard of that expression? Stolen valor? It's people who claim they were in the military, they wear a uniform, and maybe they get discounts. That was a little more popular when we were at war in Iran and Iraq. We're still there technically, but we're not fighting much. But it was more popular then when there were a lot of troops in the Middle East. And people would pretend to be veterans so they could get discounts, which is pathetic. But that's what Fluellen, actually it's Gower, picks up on that, and he says that's what this guy Pistol's going to do. He's going to hang around all the battles. He's not going to fight in any of them. He's just going to hang around. Then he's going to go back to England, and he's going to know all this information about all these battles, but he wouldn't have fought in them, and so he's going to pretend to be a hero. And so Fluellen rejects Pistol's request to save Bardolph. And there isn't a question, but what I just said, you need to know that. So we'll move over we're actually in the same scene, but and this would be Fluellen speaking. We'll have Henry and Fluellen talk to each other. Montjoy, we're still in scene 6. And, yeah, so, okay, yeah.
What was 40, why was it between Dolphin and Rowan? Is it like, so he could keep away from the battle to protect him? Is that what it is?
Yeah. It's his son, but he's also the heir. It's pretty understandable, but. All right, here comes, Fluellen, you're speaking.
Mark you, the king is coming, and I must speak for him from the priest. God bless your majesty.
How now, Flowen? Comest thou from the bridge?
I, so please your majesty, the Duke of Exeter has very gallantly maintained the bridge. The friend has gone off with you, and there is gallantly with praise past peace. Mary, the Atherbury, was have possession of the bridge, but he is enforced to retire, and the Duke of Exeter is master of the bridge. I can tell your majesty, the Duke is a great man.
What men have you lost, Flowen?
The perdition of the Atherbury hath been very great responsibility. Mary, for my part, I think the Duke hath lost never a man, but one that is like to be executed for robbing a good wine Bardolph, if your majesty know the man. His face all bubbles from coals and welks and knobs and flames of fire, and his lips float at his nose and is like a coal fire. Sometimes blue and sometimes red, but his nose is executed in this fire.
Sounds a little bit like the Sumner. If you remember his description of the Sumner in Canterbury Tales, his complexion wasn't real good. All right, Henry.
We would have all such offenders so cut off. And we give expresses charges that in our marches to the country there be nothing compelled from the villages, nothing taken but paid for, and none of the French upbraided or abused in disdainful language. For when lenity and cruelty play for a kingdom, the gentler gamester is the soonest winner.
Hey, notice how does Henry speak? What language does he use right there?
For
It is prose. And why do you think he's speaking prose? Yeah, Dave.
He is among common soldiers,
Yeah.
and therefore wishes to speak as the soldiers.
That's right. He's condescending down to their level to speak like them. And he's going to hang Bardolph. He knows who Bardolph is, and he's planning to hang him. All right, so Montjoy,
Noted by my father.
Henry.
Well then, I know thee. What shall I know of thee?
My master's mind.
Unfold it.
Thus said my king, say thou to Harry of England, though we seem dead, but we did but sleep. Advantage is the better soldier than rashness. Tell him we could have rebukes in our Lord, but we thought no good to bruise an injury till it were full right. Now we speak on our cue, our voice is imperial. England shall repent his folly and see his weakness and admire our suffrage. Bid him therefore consider the ransom which must proportion. The losses we have won, the subjects we have lost, the disgrace we have digested, which way to re-answer his pettiness would bow under. For our losses his exchequer is too poor for the infusion of our blood. The muster of his kingdom is too faint a number. For our disgrace his own person kneeling at our feet but a weak and worthless satisfaction. For to this add defiance, and tell him, for conclusion, he hath betrayed his followers, those whose condemnation is pronounced. So far, my king and master, so much my office.
What is thy name? I know thy quality.
Montjoy.
Thou dost thy office fairly. Turn thee back and tell thy king I do not seek him now, but could be willing to march on to Peleus with impeachment. For to say the sooth, though it is no wisdom to confess so much unto an enemy of craft advantage. My people are with sickness much enfeebled, my numbers lessened, and those few I almost know better than so many friends. So when they were in health, I tell thee, Harold, I thought upon one parody which was, in March 3 Frenchmen, yet forgive me, God, that I do brag thus. This here era of France hath bison me. I must repent. Go therefore, tell my master, dear mine. My ransom is this frail and worthless trump. My army but a weak and sickly guard. 44, tell him we will come on. So Francis himself and such another neighbor stand in our way. Heirs for thy labor, not joy. Go bid that master will advise himself. If we may pass, we will. If we be hindered, we shall your.
Sorry. Keep going.
We may pass, we will. If we may pass, we will. If we be hindered, we shall your tawny ground with your red blood discolor. And so in that joy, fare you well. The sum of all our answer is but this: we would not seek a battle as we are, nor as we are. We say we will not shun it. So tell your master.
I shall deliver said things to your highness.
I hope they will not come upon us now.
We are in God's hands, brother, not in theirs. March to the bridge, and not draw us toward night. Beyond the river we'll encamp ourselves, and on to tomorrow bid them march away.
There's several things here we need to note. First of all, look at question number 42. With what attitude does Henry address Montjoy, the French king's messenger? What is the content of the response to Montjoy? Why does the king speak to him in this manner? Yeah.
Well, he's like respectful, and he's like he's just telling Montjoy's like telling Henry that the French want to fight. Is that right?
Well, first of all, Montjoy is there to offer a ransom, not to offer it, but to suggest a ransom. In other words, we're going to beat you. You know what happens? When we beat you, we're going to capture you. After we capture you, your country wants to ransom you. So let's just go ahead and do that in advance. We'll let you go back to England. You pay us so much money, and we'll let you go. We won't hurt you. And Henry says, well, essentially, we don't want to fight you. Because of why? Why does he not want to fight him?
Because his army's weak.
He says, my people are with sickness and much enfeebled, my numbers lessened, and those I have, now listen to this insult, the few that I have left are almost no better than so many French, who when they were in health, I tell thee, Harold, I would, upon one pair of English legs, did march 3 Frenchmen. So he said, the ones that I have left that are not sick or wounded, they're no better than your troops. And one of mine is as good as 3 of yours. So he's bragging about the English army. So that's the first thing. He says he will offer a ransom. He says, go therefore and tell my master who I am. My ransom is this frail, worthless trunk. My army but a weak and sickly guard. If you want a ransom, come and get it. I'm your ransom. Kill me and take my body. That's going to be the ransom. Great answer. But then he goes on to say that if you let us pass, we will go to Calais. If not, then we'll fight you. If you want to fight, we'll fight you right here. By the way, this is Agincourt. They are there. And he's going to cross the river, it says, and they're going to camp, and that'll be the site of the battle. Yeah.
Should I go check on my secret?
Yeah.
Specifically.
All right, so let's turn. We have about 5 minutes. This is an interesting chapter. It runs to the end of page 129, so it's 8 pages long, although we're only reading the left-hand side. The right-hand side. So we need a constable. Who's our constable? We'll keep these for tomorrow. We need a constable. Anybody want to be a constable? All right. We need an Orleans. All right. We need a Dauphin. We need a Dauphin. Dave, would you be the Dauphin?
Yes, sir.
We need a Dauphin, Orleans, a constable. We need a more of the same, Dauphin, Orleans, constable, Dauphin. Okay, we need a Ramberet. I love that name. I like saying it. I'll be Ramberet because I like the sound of it.
We need a messenger at some point.
Yeah, we'll need a messenger.
Maybe not today, though.
All right. Yeah, we won't get far here, but essentially, the French are bragging. They can't wait for the day to come so that they can beat the English. They think the English aren't gonna be much of a opponent because they're outnumbered and they're weak. And all that's true. So why don't we at least read just a little bit here. Constable,
Todd, I have the best armor in the world. Would it were day?
You have an excellent armor, but let my horse have his due.
It is the best horse of Europe.
Will it never be morning?
My Duke of Orleans and my Lord High Constable, you talk of horse and armor.
You are as well provided of both as any prince in the world.
What a long night is this. I will not change my horse with any that treads but on 4 pasterns. Cha! He bounds from the earth as if his entrails were hairs. Le cheval volant, the Pegasus. Quille narines de feu. When I bestride him, I soar. I am a hawk. He trots in the air. The earth sings when he touches it. The basest horn of his hoof is more musical than the pipes of Hermes.
okay, that's a good place to stop. You get,
Of course.
you get a good sense, they are boasting, they're bragging, they can't wait to start. Of course, we know how this thing's gonna end up, so, tomorrow, remember, you need to practice, the next few lines of the speech. Make sure you're doing that, so we'll do that tomorrow, lines 1 through 21.